reading notebooks and yesterday's assignment. This here is what you were working on. So you either have it on Notability, or I suggested some of you keeping this worksheet. So you need to get that back out so we can look at it. All right. Yesterday you read 2 stories and filled in this theme scheme taking notes worksheet to help determine what the theme was of these stories. So, if I look at this first one, number 3, this was the one about the angry customer. So I'm going to briefly read through it here real quick. Okay. The angry customer stomped up and slammed the bag of food on the counter in front of James. The bag split down the side and French fries poured out of the rip. The man barked at James about how the restaurant had messed up the order. James smiled at the man and offered to make him a new lunch and throw in a free dessert. James stepped out from the counter and handed some kids' meals toys to the angry man's children. He apologized again to the red-faced man and offered to get him a soda while the family waited on the new order. The customer just crossed his arms and huffed. James smiled again and offered the children free milkshakes. The man's frown finally turned, and he calmly smiled at James, apologizing for overreacting. James smiled to himself. He was proud that he had done just as his father had told him. Kill them with kindness. It worked every time. So let's go to this paper. So theme, concepts are big ideas. So I would say patience. Right? Kindness. Other ones you had? Brendan? Okay, which is what he had said, right? And we can kind of bring that in. I think I talked to you about bringing that in as evidence, right? Okay. Other ones? Sean?
Just kind of be respectful and nice and treat others the way you want to
Okay.
be treated.
Good. Being polite, being respectful, treating others the way you want to be treated. Good. Those are all good ones. It says, how does the main character learn about the big concept and ideas? So here, James would be our main character, right? What actions, what things did he do or say, or what things happened to him in this story that go with how he learned these things? Kenny?
He was kind and patient, and the customer became happy.
Okay, he was, right? He was giving him free things. He says, I'll give you a soda while you wait. You know, he's sorry. So he kept doing these different things and smiling and staying calm in order for that customer then eventually kind of turned around, didn't he? And he apologized to James. So those would be some things you might have written in there. Okay, James continues to, give free things. I think somebody mentioned that to me yesterday. The milkshakes, the pop, right? They're making a new order. Okay, James does all that with a smile. And the customer finally apologizes and smiles back. Okay, those would be things. Think of letter H as kind of the main idea. Okay, what's happening in this story? What do they want us to know about? So H, main idea. Okay, that's what you're thinking of when you're thinking about how the character understands or learns these concepts. E is that evidence. Those author's words. What author's words did you take to support what you wrote next to T and H? Kenny?
He offered free milkshakes to the customer, and he smiled.
Good. Offered free lunches, was it? I know he had a lot of free things in there.
Milkshakes.
Okay, free milkshakes, and he smiled. That would be evidence. Okay, he offered him a soda while he waited. Right? Okay. Message or theme. In a complete sentence, what was the message or theme of this story? John?
Mine was not to be angry just because they don't get your food right.
Okay, but we're thinking about James. What did James learn? So that tells me more like what the customer is learning, right? James is our main character. You wanna?
Be kind to others as well.
Say that one more time.
Be kind even when others are not.
Okay, be kind even when others are not. Good. Kenny?
The message is to always be kind and patient, and you will be rewarded.
Good. Always be kind and patient, and you will always be rewarded. Because he was, in a way, wasn't he? Because the customer apologized and smiled back. He kind of came around. Sean?
If you're nice to others, they will usually be nice to you.
Good. Be nice to others. Will hopefully change their attitude, right?
Okay, did we decide that that was a theme?
This is a different story.
It sounds like, one that we just read.
It might have been the angry customer.
Yeah, so is that the theme?
That is, I think on here, I don't remember, it said be kind even when others are not. Letter
And
C.
You know what, the reason I bring it up is because Josh just finished this one, and the mechanism in the iPad marked it incorrect, but he answered it
Okay.
according to the way you guys are talking about it right now.
Yeah,
So.
I'll have to look at that one then.
Just,
It happened
Yeah.
to me yesterday.
Yeah, you were having issues. What number was that?
that was, actually, I think it marked all of us. But these are the ones that he did before, and he's got what he's got in his hand. The first one, it's like the first one, it's like we talked about, the second one, the third one, kind of fast. Anyway, did really well with this, so I just wanna make sure he
So
gets
as
it
long
right.
as I know, we're good. I'll fix it right in there. I don't know what that.
You know what though, there was only 3 passages on his iPad instead of, okay.
Yeah, there should have been 3.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay. So we're good with, oh, we have one more piece of evidence, don't we? And I mentioned you could write in there that you could use the words, kill them with kindness, right? Where did he learn that from?
His dad.
Right, James learned from his father to kill them with kindness, and it always works. That would be a good piece of evidence to put in there, okay? All right, let's look at the next one. Number 2. Jane's cousin smirked and said, it's not a lie if you don't tell. Turning away, she sneakily slipped the Snickers bar into her coat pocket. Jane felt her face turn red as her heart pounded with fear. She had never thought of stealing, much less being a witness to such a crime. Winona skipped off, whistling as she waved goodbye to the gas station clerk. Jane ran quickly to catch up, but then stopped suddenly in front of the clerk. She slowly walked over to the clerk, explained that her cousin must have forgotten to pay, and insisted on paying for the candy bar. It was Jane's last dollar bill, but she proudly handed it over to the clerk. She felt good about it, about what she had done, and looked forward to sharing the candy bar with Winona. After splitting the Snickers bar, Winona said, "See, it's not a lie if you don't tell." Jane replied with a smile, "But you told me." Interesting. Themes? Messages you wrote down? Kenny?
Honesty is the best policy.
Okay, well, we're looking for one word up there, so honesty could go up there. Josh?
Loyalty.
Loyalty, okay. She was loyal to her friend, wasn't she? Kind of covering for her. Good. What else? Honesty and loyalty. You might say friendship. Okay. Jane was being a good friend to her cousin. Sean?
Kindness, people that want to be very kind and feel something.
Okay. Kindness. All right. How does the character, the main character, Jane, or maybe Winona, you might look at either one of them. What happens for them to learn honesty? I don't know that Winona necessarily did. What do you think? Maya?
It's because Jane, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She thought that the
Yeah, Jane saw it, right? Did Winona tell her, or she just saw her?
Winona told
Oh, right. Jane's cousin smirked and said, "It's not a lie if you don't tell." Okay, and then at the end of the story, Jane said, "You told me." So what is she telling Winona?
that she did lie.
That it was a lie, wasn't it? Okay, so you could go with one or the other. You could say that hopefully in this story. Winona was our main character, right? What did she do in the story? So I'm at letter H, which we're saying is kind of main idea. Landon?
She stole a candy bar and her sister.
They said they were cousins.
Cousins. Well, her cousin bought it for her.
Right, her cousin ends up paying it for her. And you might even in the bottom mention that the cousin, Jane, said that Winona was lying because she had told Jane. Okay, so that would be part of that summary we were looking for. Kenny?
How Jane discovered, to be honest, was her cousin stole and she paid for it and it felt good.
Okay, so you could go with the Jane, right, where she took care of it and it made her feel good. Okay. Evidence? You would say, if you were going with the Winona was hopefully learning it was a lie, you would mention that Winona had told her not to lie, and in the end, Jane tells her, well, you told me, so then it was a lie. Okay. Kenny did it a little different. What did you write down, Kenny?
She told the clerk that she forgot to pay.
Oh, Jane told the clerk that Winona forgot to pay, right?
But that's lying
Okay.
too. Yeah, she's lying too. 'Cause
She kind of did, didn't she?
stole it on purpose.
So Winona stole it on purpose. Jane was trying to cover for Winona and said that she just forgot to pay. Okay?
Or maybe she thought she would get in trouble.
And that could have been. That was why Jane paid for it. She was afraid she was going to get in trouble. Okay? But Kenny was going with, for Jane, honesty felt better than what Winona was doing. So she paid for it, and it made her feel good. So now we're looking for that complete sentence. Okay, here it gave you the option, honesty is the best practice. What are some other ones? Some other sentences you came up with to describe the theme of this story. John? Well, we need a complete sentence. So you were thinking honesty and kindness? So honesty is the best practice and being kind to others. So I'm not sure Jane necessarily or Winona necessarily. Well, if you're looking at Winona, she might have learned kindness, but we don't know that Jane ever told her that she paid for the candy bar, right?
Yeah, she might have thought she just wanted the real person.
Right. She might have just thought that nobody had paid for it still, and Jane was just saying, well, you told me. So that's telling Winona that you did lie about stealing the candy bar, right? Okay, a lot going on here in this story. Kenny?
Honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is the best policy, kind of like honesty is the best practice. Just some different words there. Anything else for that one? All right. I'm not collecting that. You were adding to and kind of checking over your information. What I need you to do now, we're going to practice reading and answering questions on this Common Lit, because Common Lit has a lot going on here, and I want to go through one of the stories with you and show you what it is I'm looking for when you're answering some of those questions you're typing to. So you're going to log into Common Lit. Remember, it assigns you a username. There is no class code. Okay, you should have written these down. So signing into Common Lit.
What if your iPad like automatically when you go?
Then you're good. But keep in mind, if you get a loaner iPad, it's not going to do that. So you still need to write them down. Because I'm not looking them up. You need to be responsible for your passwords. When I forget a password or a username for something, I have to start all over and figure it out. Or I just write them down, which is what I do. I have a huge paper full of passwords and stuff, usernames, so I don't forget. I'll give you a minute here to get logged into Common Lit.
Wait, I forgot. Is it a 28 one or?
Nope. It was your first and last name, all lowercase letters. Some of you had a number after it. Some of you might log in with Google. You might be logging in with Google.
I just pressed Google and
Would I
automatically
click
logged
the
me in.
TV logged in?
I didn't press anything.
You can.
Do we do both of them?
Do we do what? Well, we're just waiting. You're getting logged in. So this is what pops up for me, and then you're gonna click on my assignments. So mine's gonna show 3. This is one you already did. I pulled that one up here because this is a student one. We're gonna look at this one. The Lion and the Mouse. So let's click on that one. Yep, The Lion and the Mouse. So here it says, as you read, take notes on the relationship between the 2 characters and the theme. You should have your reading notebook out. You should have a pencil in your hand. As we're reading this, you should be jotting things down. Does it have to be sentences? No, it's details. Pull those important words. Jot them down. Okay? So here it is. What do you need, Sean?
Why is it all blurry down there?
Just be patient, please.
There was like
All right. You're gonna hold on to that. So here is where I had, on the last one, I wanted to do the guided questions. Okay, and I didn't check the box. So it's gonna require you to read this and answer this first question. You can't continue until you answer this question. That's why it's blurry. All right, so let's read. A lion lay asleep in the forest, his great head resting on his paws. A timid little mouse came upon him unexpectedly, and in her fright and haste to get away, ran across the lion's nose. Uh-oh, that can't be good. Here's my thinking voice kicking in. Are you writing some things down? Right? Mouse ran across the lion's nose. She was in a hurry. Oh, I'm thinking it's not going to be good. Roused from his nap. Roused, that's an interesting word. He must have woken up, right? The lion laid his huge paw angrily on the tiny creature to kill her. Just as I suspected, not a good situation. Hopefully she can get out of it. Spare me, begged the poor mouse. Please let me go, and someday I will surely repay you. The lion was much amused to think that a mouse could ever help him, but he was generous and finally let the mouse go. Where do I need to stop at? Right here. So we're going to click on this Q1, and up pops some questions here. It says, what decision did the lion make? To kill the mouse, to hurt the mouse, to ignore the mouse, to release the mouse? What did he decide, Josh?
To release the mouse.
To release the mouse. So if I click on, let's say, to kill the mouse, look what happens. Okay, it's incorrect and it wants me to answer it again. It didn't open these words yet. Okay, so now I have to do the correct one, and then it releases these new words down here so I can continue reading. Don't just guess. Okay, I need eyes up here and I need ears this way. These are guided questions. They're helping guide your reading. Okay, something I would write down would be, lion decided to release mouse. That's what these questions are for. Okay, the lion thinks it's interesting that this mouse can help him, but he still lets her go. Okay, notes. You type in some notes. All right, let's keep reading. Some days later, while stalking his prey in the forest, the lion was caught in the toils of a hunter's net. Unable to free himself, he filled the forest with angry roaring. Oh, I bet that mouse is going to help him out. What do you think?
Yeah.
The mouse knew the voice and quickly found the lion struggling in the net, running to one of the great ropes that bound him. She nodded until it parted, and soon the lion was free. You laughed when I said I would repay you, said the mouse. Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion. Oh, she's proving a point, right? She's teaching him a lesson. What kind of lessons do you think they're teaching? What are some themes, some big concepts we might learn from this mouse and this lion? Nick?
Even though things are small, like it's still do big things.
Okay, even though she was tiny, she was still able to accomplish something. Good. Landon?
I was gonna say small things can do big things.
Okay, small things can do big things. All right. Let's look at our question number 2. How does the mouse repay the lion? By capturing the lion, by scaring the hunter, by freeing the lion, by gnawing on the hunter while he left the forest. That's a funny one. Jackson? C, by freeing the lion from the hunter's net. So we're going to hit continue. And look here. See, I got half a star because I purposely clicked the wrong answer so you could see what was happening. So it's telling you how you did. Okay, and then I can see this too. So if I start to see that you're just randomly clicking until you get the right answer, I'll unsubmit and have you redo it. So you're taking your time and answering those questions. All right, now we're going to begin the assessment. So I like that this keeps the story right here for me to see it while I'm answering. What does the word timid mean as it is used in paragraph 1? I want to point something out. See how this is in green? And I can click on it? Maybe? Did it? Okay, it did. So it highlights paragraph 1. So it helps you go back to the story to find the information. Okay? So here, a timid little mouse came upon him unexpectedly. So timid, what do you think it means? What choices do they give us? Courageous and bold, cute and soft, foolish and careless, fearful and weary. What do you think? Which of those would make the most sense? Landon?
Cute and soft.
Cute and soft. No, it's saying it's timid. To me, timid would mean kind of quiet, you're cautious. So I'm not really seeing a whole lot, like she's not necessarily being foolish. Foolish is like she's doing silly things, right? So if I continue reading, upon him unexpectedly and her fright and haste. So what does fright mean? What does fright mean? Riker?
It means like kind of scared.
Yeah, it means scared. Haste means she was kind of being quick, right? So what do you think? Ava? D, fearful and weary. So weary kind of means like cautious. Okay, you're being careful. All right. Fearful might have been the one that was throwing you off because up here timid doesn't necessarily mean fearful, but down here we realize she is, right? If you're cautious and you're kind of slinking back, you might be a little fearful. Okay, so save a next. Part B. Which phrase provides the best support for the answer to part A? Which one? What did I point out that really helped me to see what timid meant? Adam? In her fright. Yep, that gave us that fearful, didn't it? Okay. Save and next. We marking these as we're going?
Yeah.
Here's that paragraph 3. I can click on it so I know what they're talking about. Okay, so this was 1, 2, 3. What does the information in paragraph 3 reveal about the lion? Read those answer choices. Yes.
Aren't lions like the king of the forest?
Kind of, yeah. That's what
Yeah,
they
that's
say,
their
right?
nickname.
What does the word amused mean? The lion was much amused. What's that mean, Kenny?
Like laughing, like.
Yeah, he was kind of laughing, right? He thought, oh, this is entertaining. This tiny little mouse can help me, but he let her go. So what here reveals about the lion? What information? A, B, C, or D? 1 for A, 1 finger for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, and 4 for D. What do you think? Oh, I'm getting a pretty well consensus here on letter C. C is correct.
Yes.
He does not believe that an animal as mighty as he would ever need the help of a creature so small. Boy, was he fooled, right? Number 4, paragraph 5. How does paragraph 5 contribute to the overall structure of the story? Read those answer choices. Again, 1A, 2 fingers for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. Well, we got some making some choices here. Seeing a strong agreement again for 4, which would be D, and D is correct. Yes. So we're gonna mark D, save and exit, and we get to write some sentences here. So, these are the ones that I really want to focus on today. Okay? Explain the theme of the story on the lines below. It says explain. Does it say tell me the theme?
No.
No. It uses the word explain. If it just said, tell me the theme, you could say the theme is whatever. But it says explain, meaning I need more than just one sentence. What is the theme? We had a couple of suggestions, couple of ideas. Emmy?
Don't judge themes of how they look for people.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
By its cover.
Right. Don't judge it by, in this case, it's her size, right? Good. What else? Was that what you were going to say? Okay. Anything else? Kenny?
That, like, for example, just because if someone has like a ton of money and someone doesn't have so much money, that doesn't mean that they can't help you.
Okay. So we're thinking about this story, though. Maya?
Kind of like loyalty because mouse captured.
So the lion was kind to the mouse, right? And then the mouse repaid that, didn't she? Okay, so you might say the kindness didn't go unwasted. Okay, you might say, because it also mentions that the lion was amused by this tiny mouse. Okay, that a lot of you mentioned, right? Even though she was tiny, even though something appears small, don't judge it by its size, right? She still was able to do something great. Okay, so if you were to pick either one, because both themes do go with the story, you would have to explain. So let's go with, because I think most of us are saying, the theme is, so I'm going to PQA, the theme of the story is, we're going to go with Emmy. Don't judge something by its size, because it may, you might say it may surprise you. Okay, now we have to support that. So think about this paper. Hand on right now. Think about this paper. Okay, what happens in the story to make us believe this? What happens? Let me see if I can kind of zoom in here. There we go. If I can support and explain this, I can get full credit. All of these are generally worth 4 points. If this was the only thing that I had seen from you and you submitted it this way, I would probably only give this 1 or 2 points. Because yes, it's the theme and it answers that question, but there was no explaining. So you did half of it. Okay, you'd get some, but you wouldn't get all 4. Okay, because we're not done. What happens in the story, Riker, that makes us believe this?
Because the lion got caught in the net and the mouse heard its roaring, so he went to go help it because he wanted to keep his promise.
And the mouse hears his roaring. What else did you say? You were on a roll. I couldn't keep up.
The mouse heard it roaring and came to help him because he wanted to keep his promise.
To help the lion to keep his, well, I think is the, do we know if the mouse is a girl or a boy?
It's a girl.
I think in the full story it is, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really say here. To help the lion, well, we'll word it this way, to help the lion.
But in
So the
picture,
mouse can keep, we'll say its promise, since we don't know.
Miss
Okay?
Laura,
Yeah.
And how you know it's not a female is because in the picture it has a mane and female lions do not have a name.
Well,
No,
we're talking about the mouse.
Oh, yeah.
So here now I have 2 sentences. One is a very complex sentence. This one is a very lengthy sentence as well. Okay? Is there anything else we could add? We might add something about the lion, right? What was he doing?
Oh, I know. Oh,
John?
he let the mouse go. He let the mouse go.
So you might say add. And what's nice about this is I can click up here at the beginning of the story. Of the story. The lion lets the mouse go. Why? Because what does the mouse tell the lion? What does she say? Jackson?
That the mouse would surely repay the lion.
Yeah, because it will repay him. I'm trying to avoid, notice I'm trying to avoid as many pronouns as possible, okay? So I could say because the mouse will repay the lion, or I could just change him to lion. Oops. At the beginning of the story, the lion lets the mouse go. What lets the mouse go? Because it will repay the lion. Right? You might say here then, later in the story, right? That's what happens. And the lion, we need to add in the lion laughs at this, right? Okay? And then we would say this sentence that Riker gave us. All right? What's the problem? We're typing, so you can move that cursor wherever you want and add the stuff in. Okay? What's nice about typing is that I can easily adjust and change and add and delete. Okay? When I go back and reread.
I wrote like everything down on this little.
Perfect.
Maybe
Nothing to be upset about. You click in there, you type it, you delete it. So completing these should take a few minutes. Okay, did I just type my 2 sentences and say, oh, I'm done? No, we didn't, did we, Landon? He's like, no, Mrs. Long would never do that. No, we went back, we added more details, so it made sense. Okay? I missed a few words, so I missed the word go, so I had to fix that and type that in there. Okay? Checking over your work carefully, especially with these, is important. I think we're pretty good here on that one. I'm not. I'll leave it up there. Couple more seconds here. Finish typing it.
Almost 8 sentences.
That's a lot of sentences.
I'm pretty good at
Well, it's harder for me on the iPad than it is on the computer, but
I'm really fast on that.
yeah, you guys probably are because that's what you use. And I don't like the typing. I like the typing.
I'm better on my phone than I am
Oh.
on my iPad just
No.
because I couldn't get to the middle.
Are you done typing
My
right now?
fingers
All right.
My fingers are too
Okay.
big for that.
All right. You're super fast, Emmy? On the iPad or on your phone?
Like,
Both.
I feel like on the phone, because like my fingers are so big, I press it and I press like 3 letters.
Let's see. Josh is still typing? Okay. Canyon, you
I
good?
just know what it does for me is you just press one of them.
Riker, you got all
Press
this?
the wrong one.
When you're done, you can hit save and next,
And submit your assignment.
and then submit your assignment. We need this back up here.
Yay.
There we go. Okay.
Jeez, I'm finally done.
That wasn't like that hard.
If you still need it, take a picture so we can move on. 'Cause
I'm
We're gonna-
almost done.
we're gonna run out of time for social studies here, when you've got reading assignment yet.
Yeah, we still have to do one by ourselves.
Isn't the sometimes green needs a push?
Like, as long as Benny's Miss Bush.
What?
Miss Bush.
Mm-mm.
No,
I think it's like Mr. Right or something.
no, it's
No.
not.
It was a guy, I think.
Good?
Yeah.
New person.
Anybody else typing?
I don't think he's.
Brendan, you said you were good?
Maya's not.
I've had having him before. I just
Getting it,
don't
Maya?
remember his name.
Not right now. Now I made it tiny, you can't see it. Good? Okay, so save and next. Submit your assignment. We're gonna submit your assignment again, and then that should leave you with this one. Sometimes a dream needs a push. So you're going to click on that one. Remember, jot some notes down in your notebook while you're reading it. We did with the lion one. And you're gonna read.
Oh my god.
Now here, I don't know if you guys noticed this, it makes the font size bigger for me, because I can't see very good. I like to make it bigger, okay? So you have that option, okay? But you're reading, you've got guided questions you're answering, and then you have some additional questions you're gonna answer. This is your reading assignment. I will be grading this. This will be part of your grade for reading. So make sure if you're typing answers, it's more than just one sentence. Okay? All right, you're working on that.